everybody, I'm back a little later than I wanted to be, but we're going to put together our special project using the July Perfectly Pieced spool block. When we did our block tutorial, we did that with quilting, our one block for the mystery quilt, and we did the borders. I really liked the all over quilting that came with this. It's really cute. I wanted to incorporate that into something for my sewing room. So what I came up with was a 12-inch pillow. I have a little chair that I sit at when I work on the embroidery videos, and I need a little something for my back. A big pillow isn't going to fit, but this little 12-inch pillow, this is going to be just the right size. Since I already have a block tutorial, I went ahead and made some spool blocks. I made 4 6-inch spool blocks. The fabric line that I used is called Sparkler. This is a Riley Blake Designs fabric line. All different colors, really nice. I picked the ones that I liked and I made 4 spools. Let's look at the spools. I haven't trimmed these yet. I stitched these out. These are pieced directly onto the stabilizer. There's no quilting on them yet. These are the 6-inch blocks. The background is Kona Snow. I made a green one, a pink one, a purple one, and a blue one. The first thing we need to do, once we have as many spools as you want, if you're going to make a pillow or a wall hanging, is go ahead and get these trimmed. I'm very excited because my stuff that I ordered on Kimberbell Day arrived. I did some shopping and I ordered their rotating cutting mat that's square. We're going to use that and trim up our blocks. Here's the rotating cutting mat. You can see I didn't even take it out of the plastic yet. It is 14 inches square. I'm going to open that up, and then we're going to need our 6.5-inch square orange pop rulers. This turns, so when we're cutting with our orange pop rulers, we don't have to move our block. We just rotate the cutting mat. Let's lay down our first spool block. Got my green one. I've got my 6.5 and my 8.5-inch square orange pop rulers. I like to use a larger one in addition to the smaller one if I can, because I have big hands. It makes it easier to hold on to while I trim. If you've never used orange pop rulers before, I'll have a link for those for you below. They come in square and rectangle. You want to line up the inside of the ruler with the trimming line from your project. That looks good. I have a little quilty clip tin. I use it kind of like a paperweight. If you're right-handed, you'll be cutting on the inside left. If you're left-handed, you'll be cutting on the inside right. You start down in the notch and you go all the way to the upper notch, as far over to the side as possible. There's a little bit of wiggle room. You want to be running your blade right along this ruler. So you go notch to notch. Watch your hand. Don't do this. Keep it out of the way. Notch to notch. I'm going to set this down. We can rotate our cutting mat. Fantastic. Love it. I'm going to move my little clippy tin there. Do the next side, notch to notch, and then we have to do the other 2 sides. I've got that trimmed. I need to go ahead and trim up all of my spool blocks the same way. I'll go ahead and do that off camera, and then we'll figure out how we want to lay these out. And we'll start by sewing together our pillow top. Then we're going to quilt it using clear glue tiles. We've got everything trimmed. I'm going to start just by laying it out. Have a look at it. See if I like the way that it lays out. Look at where the colors are going. I think I want the green up here, the blue down here. If you sew it together like this, you get an interesting sort of blank space in the middle. You can rotate them. That's neat. Look at that. I think I like that. You've got a diamond in the middle. In fact, you could embroider something on that if you want after you sew it together. Opposite, let's see, 2 going that way, 2 going that way. Tops are here, tops are there. Not a fan of that one. Kind of like that. You can also look at the additional project ideas and see different ways that these are all laid out. Here they are like I have it right now. You can see it's got that diamond in the center, and then you've got some different ways where they almost look like they're falling. So you can pick whichever way you like the best. You can also line them all up the same direction. I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine, sew these 2 together, these 2 together. I'll press one this direction and one this direction. That way when I go to to sew the last row together, the seam will nest. I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera. That's just straight seam sewing. I've got that sewn together and pressed. We're going to quilt this before we build our pillow. You're going to need a piece of batting, I'd say slightly bigger than the size of your piece. I had a piece of scrap batting. You can see I have a little bit extra all the way around. And then we're going to need a fabric backing for that. I've got some of this Kona snow here. Since I'm going to be hooping this and we're going to be using clear blue tiles, I need to think about how big a piece I want for my backing. I'll be using 6x6 design, so we'll have 4 hoopings for this. I went ahead and I grabbed my 8x8 hoop because usually the quilting is a little bit bigger. I'm not sure it's going to fit in a 6x6 hoop, and we want to be able to center it to make our quilting easier. So when I lay that down and look at it, you can see I need quite a bit extra. It sort of reminds me of long arming. When I long arm a quilt, I want 4 inches extra on the backing all the way around. It makes it easier. When I look at this, if I center this block, looks like I've got about 4 inches. Let's go ahead over here. Same thing, I need a little bit more space. So what I'll do is give myself 4 inches extra, just like I was long arming it. If I'm doing a larger project, I'll use some 505 basting spray. Here's what that looks like. I spray it on the batting. The reason I don't spray the fabric is it can leave little splatter marks. Now it will come out when you wash it, but sometimes you don't wash these things right away. If you spray the batting and then lay it down and press, you don't have to worry about any marks. Let's go ahead and spray it just for fun, shall we? I'll just show you how I do that. So we've got the batting, and normally I do this outside because it smells. You want a well-ventilated area. I've got the ceiling fans going, and this is a really tiny little piece. We'll just go ahead and spray just a bit. Try not to touch it because then you get all sticky. Go ahead and flip it. And you can pull up and put down. It's a temporary spray adhesive. Go ahead and smooth it. When I'm working with a bigger quilt, I would take this over to the iron, flip it over to this side, and iron it nice and flat. This is the inside of the pillow. It doesn't matter. We'll go ahead and spray this side. Got a little dark thread there I'm going to pull off. And let's put this down. Smooth that out. And let's get our tiles. If you just purchased clear blue tiles, I'm going to link my playlist below. I have several videos showing how to use clear blue tiles, and I have one where I go through opening it up, how to use it, how to lay out the tiles, how to mark. It is extremely beginner friendly. I am going to go ahead and open this up, and I need to find this 6x6 tile. Here's my 6x6 tile. I'm not going to need the USB because we're going to be using the perfectly pieced design. I'm going to go ahead and stick it on another USB. I keep this one in here so I don't lose it. I'm going to just set this aside. I'm going to grab our tile, and if you've watched my video, you know that I like to put down tape rather than mark on my fabric. You can mark on your fabric with the water-soluble markers. They will come off. I got this one out of one of the Kimberbell punch needle kits. I just find it faster and easier to use tape. Go ahead and grab a piece of tape. What I would do is center it on your spool. So you may find that it's closer to this seam line and this seam line, and there's more open space here, but that's correct because we're going to sew this to our pillow backing. That looks like the center of the spool to me. I'm going to lay this down right here, and I need one more piece because I did not do a good job of laying that down. It's way over to one side. There's that. I'm going to mark the center. I'm going to mark here, 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 here. Everybody had a brief video and audio glitch. You want to go ahead and mark where you see my hand right now. That's going to help you line up the tile for the green spool. That'll give me my best results. Now I've got that lined up. I've got this lined up here, 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 and here. And then what we can do is go ahead and get our tape ready. So let's put this back down, line that back up, mark here, right there, line that back up where it was. There's my center, mark there. That's going to help me when I move over here. There's that line right there. That looks good. Again, more space here, and that's correct because we're going to be sewing on our backing. Mark our tape, and then I'm going to mark down here, move this down here, Oh, I did a good job. You can line up this line and this line. That looks good. Mark. Yep, I got a little bit on my fabric. That'll come off. I've got that all set. Let's go ahead and hoop this, and then we'll head over to the machine and we'll start quilting. Here's the design we're going to be using. Here's the top. It's definitely not random. It's somewhat directional. I want to be consistent with how I hoop. So since I'm standing over here, I'm going to go ahead and turn this, and we'll start with the green one. I'm going to loosen it really good. All right, you don't have to get it perfectly centered. That's the beauty of pure blue tiles. When you get over to your machine, if you need to adjust it, you can. I'm still going to try and get it in the center. I don't like using those, those plastic things that come with your machine. I just don't like using those. I'm not very good with those. Go ahead and just try and lay it out. Set that down. I'll bring it down as far as I can, but I have to have the extra here to be able to tighten it in the hoop. So I'll probably be making some adjustments over at my machine like that. And then I'll be able to adjust when we get to the machine to make sure that my design is in the right spot. Make sure everything's pushed down. We're going to tighten it. Can add a little piece of tape here just to hold that down. And I'll add one more up here. Now we're ready. For my thread color, I picked this Floriani gold color. The fabric has gold metallic detailing. This is going to match up really nice. I'm going to put this on my machine. Let's go ahead and bring up the file we just put on the USB. I'm going to have to go down. I've got a lot on there. There it is. I'm going to hit set, and I'm going to hit embroidery. We're going to put our hoop on our machine and see if this is centered, how I need to move it. I know I'm going to need to move it because I'm not completely centered. When I go to move it, if I hit layout and move, I can use the arrows. You can hear my machine moving, and I can fine tune it and get it to where I need to go. Let's put my frame on. You want to make sure your extra is off to the side. For bigger projects, definitely roll it, use the slap band or clip it. This is a pretty small project. I know I've got everything out of the way. I can see this is not where it needs to be. So we're going to use that layout and the move function. Now I can turn on the laser. See how it turned on to show me where it is? My center is further up and over to the right. So let's go ahead and move. And you just have to play with it and get it to the point where it's centered. My laser light is right on top of my blue center marking. You need to take this off before you quilt it, or you're going to have to pick it out. I can also take off this piece here and this piece here. Let's go ahead and quilt. I need to put my presser foot down. I'm going to hit start, and it's going to quilt this block. That's all done. That gold color looks so good. You can see how it went right up to the edge, but it didn't cross over into the next block. How I've got my 1/4 inch space over here because of how we laid down our tile. I have to do the same thing for my other 3 spools. It's the exact same thing. Loosen the hoop, put it in, tighten the hoop, center it, stitch it out. I'll go ahead and do that off camera. We'll move on to putting our pillow together. Here's everything quilted. It looks so good. It looks better than I thought it would look. I love how the scissors and the spool ended up here in the center. We need to trim away everything on the outside. This is 12.5 inches square. I looked in my drawers and I found a 12.5 inch square ruler. I bought this for something. I don't even remember at the time. I remember using it, but I'm not sure on what. It's a nice ruler. You can actually see the 1/4 inch seam allowance around it. I'm going to center the line here and the line here on the seam. Wow, this is going to work really well for this. You can also use a regular ruler and just trim along each side and trim it straight. I just happen to find this in the drawer. Put my ruler away. That is really cute. This would make a really cute little wall hanging for a sewing room. You could put borders on it. There's border quilting that came with the perfectly pieced as well. Here's the border quilting. Or you could put some borders on it and embroider like so-and-so sewing room or welcome, my happy place, something like that. You can make it very custom. We'll make a great wall hanging. We need to make our envelope back, sew that on, and then we'll finish our pillow. I found some scraps of this in my stash. It's got some dots on it. Very, very similar color to this. It's an odd strip. This is a cutoff from a quilt, and it should be enough to make an envelope back. What you want with an envelope back is a slight overlap in the center. So let's lay this out like that. Oh, easily. That'll work out great. I'm going to cut 2 pieces of this 12.5 inches long, and we'll measure it. This is 12.5 inches long. I want to make sure I cut off the selvage. This is cut really straight. It's 8 inches wide. Here's the quilted part. Here's my 2 pieces. So we're going to have 1 piece here, 1 piece here. I have plenty of room, more than enough room for an overlap in the center. And I can see that this isn't quite straight. I'll even that up, or I'll actually use that part to fold. What I'm going to do is just fold it over like this. I'm going to press that, and then I'll go to my sewing machine and I'll top stitch, which is just straight stitch. I'll add a straight stitch there. That'll anchor that down, and then I'll do the same thing over here. Fold that, press it, and then anchor it down. I've got these folded over and top stitched. Grab your top, and you can either lay them like this or like this. I usually lay my pillow insert with the opening going top to bottom. Personal preference. It's going to be right sides together. This is a small project, so I'll probably do this all really quick around. When I'm working with the larger projects, I'll do half, go back and forth, down, around, 1/4 inch seam allowance, back and forth, and then I'll put the next piece on, go back and forth, and go all the way around, and go back and forth there. This is a small enough project where I feel like I'll be okay going all the way around. I am going to clip it though. Got these great clips that came in one of the Me Time subscriptions. All clipped, I'm going to go over to my sewing machine and sew all the way around with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I've got that sewed on. I actually went around twice. I know that this pillow is going to see some heavy use. I wanted to make sure that it was nice and secure. Then I clipped off the corners. We're going to turn it right side out, and then we'll put our pillow form in. I'm going to use my clover point turner, get these corners a little bit better, and then I'll put in my pillow form. This is the hardest part for me, stuffing the pillow. I'm going to go ahead and do this off camera. I've got that as about as good a stuffed as I can get. If you're like me, you can just never seem to get the pillow form in the corners, like these are flat, you can get some polyfill and just tuck some up in the corners, and that'll help make sure the corners are just as poofy as the rest of the pillow. This is just for me. If I'm going to gift it to somebody, I probably would go ahead and do that, but I'm going to put this right on my chair and start using it right away. Envelope back came out great. We don't have any crack in the middle like that. Plenty of space. There we go. Super cute. Oh, I love it. This is the perfect size for my little chair. I think when I ordered that office chair, I actually ordered a kid's chair, but I kept using it. It works fine. So this little 12-inch pillow is perfect. Thank you for making this pillow with me today. We used the spool block from the July 2026 Perfectly piece, the special all-over quilting that was included, and our 6x6 towel from Clear Blue Tiles Essential Set. If you're thinking about signing up for Perfectly piece or buying Clear Blue Tiles after watching my video, I ask that you please consider using the links below. I get a small commission, but more importantly, it lets Kimberbell know people are watching and enjoying my content. I'll also have a link below to my private Facebook group. You have to answer one security question to get in. That helps keep out the bots and the spammers. Join the Facebook group and you can keep up to date with what's going on. Thank you again for making this pillow with me. I'll be back soon with another fun Kimberbell project. Bye everybody!